O Lord of light, who made the stars, O down by whom we see the way, O Christ, Redeemer of us all, make haste to listen as we pray. In lowliness you came on earth.
Hello, welcome to Moments with the Master. We're counting down the final ones until the election of 2024, at which time the world will end, and we will continue in heaven. The readings for the third Sunday. Oh, I'm
we'll
freaking
do
white.
Moments with the Master, except Jesus will be there.
Jesus will lead it. Josh and I will be sitting there leading our thing, and Jesus will be in the background going, no, just let me talk. The readings for the third Sunday after Epiphany are Jonah chapter 3, verses 1 through 10, Psalm 25, verses 3 through 9. The epistle is 1 Corinthians 7, 29 through 31, and the gospel is Mark chapter 1, verses 14 through 20. I'm going to read the epistle. Brethren, the appointed time has grown very short. From now on, let those who have wives live as though they had none, and those who mourn as though they were not mourning, and those who rejoice as though they were not rejoicing, and those who buy as though they had no goods, and those who deal with the world as though they had no dealings with it. For the form of this world is passing away.
So basically, meh.
I am reminded of my two favorite, by the way, smileys are the one where it's two dots in a straight line.
Yeah.
Or two dots and nothing there.
Meh.
I think those are amazing. Oh, have you seen my shirt? Hold up. I'm going to look it up real quick while I'm talking. Anyway, I am reminded of the beginning of the Bushido, which says, I have found what it is. I have found the way of Bushido. It is to die. Can you see it?
Yes, mediocrities. I've seen that. Yes.
I have a shirt with that. It is to die. So that is what I think that the verse probably means. If you are living as if you're
Like
already dead, like the Klingons, today is a good. Well, see that today they say today is a good day to die, as opposed to I'm already dead. So all of this doesn't matter. There is something else that matters, and it means that you can basically go out and do whatever you want, except in this case, it's whatever's right. Whatever is the thing that needs to be done, you can do, because none of this other stuff matters.
Right. As opposed to the opposite, which Paul rails against, I think, in Galatians about sinning that grace may abound. You know, I can be a complete libertine because none of this really matters.
But it's really interesting because it seems almost immoral, like especially let those who have wives live as though they had none. It seems to go against really other things that Paul has said. But it also connects with other things like Paul has said. Like he says very explicitly, you should be like I am, unmarried. But if you got to be married so that you don't burn, go ahead and get married. With the clear implication being, unless, I mean, I'd appreciate if you had a different read, but for my take, the clear implication is marriage is for the weak, and the preferred status is to be single.
So Interestingly, we've been reading this in the Celtic Catholic Church, this book, and it addresses that directly. And
It does look like I have a familiar dog spirit above my
I
head.
know it's a little bizarre, but it actually, he specifically, so Pope John Paul wrote this massive treatise on the theology of the body in scripture and in Catholic doctrine, and addresses that directly. And basically, his point is not that celibacy is better, it's but it is a calling, because like the image that of God and his people is marriage, and so without good earthly examples of marriage, um
but that's not what Paul
says.
says.
But here's the ultimate thing. Jesus says, in heaven there will be no marrying or giving in marriage. Now, we don't know exactly what that means, except that maybe we will, like, will I know Marilyn? Will I have a wife? Possibly, but there won't be a sexual component to it in the way that I'm familiar with it today.
Are you going to be in like the Irish Catholic heaven, and she's going to be in the Baptist one?
Probably
like
not.
like it like in
She
the
is most definitely not Baptist anymore.
like in The Simpsons.
Yes. Oh, that's that. Yes, that. But it is, I mean, just from a purely practical standpoint, it's a lot easier to do things when you don't have to think about another person. On the flip side, there's a very godly thing of having to subsume your own viewpoint and desires because you have to accommodate another person.
I agree that. Oh, I mean, there's also, I want to say it's Paul, maybe it's Jesus, says that it's talking about mother specifically, but will be saved
through childbirth.
And I in my mind, it more means saved through motherhood.
Right.
Because I remember very clearly when Josiah was born, the focus of my world shifting to where he was the center, and I needed to take care of him. Now, it taught me, it was like a jumping off point. Obviously, your child should not be the center of your world, but there is something about having that change where you are not it anymore, where somebody else is, and it shows how other things change in contrast. But I wonder if we could add lines on here like, let citizens act as if they have no country.
Oh yeah.
What would that look like? If I go ahead.
Well, and I said, I said this the other day about, I was talking about authority to some teenagers, and so as a military member, my ultimate boss is the president of the United States, but I don't swear allegiance to the president of the United States. I swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, not the leader of the United States. And so, but I was like, at the end of the day, if I am asked to do something that is in contradiction to what God says, then I would have to say no and accept whatever consequences came as a result. Hey, we want you to go murder these people. Hey, we want you to go, do this thing over here.
It's an interesting thing. There is built into, and this happened because of things that happened in Vietnam. The idea that I was ordered to do so is no longer a defense.
Right. Well, that goes back to the Nuremberg trials.
Right, but yes, but I don't know that it had been applied to our own military.
Right.
Until things had come out about stuff that had happened in Vietnam.
Right.
Yeah, it had been applied to the German military.
Well, I
For
remember when
sure.
Abu Ghraib happened, and I was like, where was that chaplain? There was a chaplain involved in what was not involved in directly in what was happening, but he was there. So was he just or she, were they completely unaware of what was going on, or were they unwilling to say anything? I do know of a chaplain who is actually within my endorsing agency who kind of became a whistleblower for some things that were going on at Guantanamo with the people that were being held there, and he wasn't a Muslim, he was a Christian, but um, got apparently got spanked so badly he wound up leaving the military because he, how dare you say these things and step over the chain of command and all of
You
it.
want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Yes, exactly.
Um, that's it.
I don't know how we got to that from living your life as if it were the end days.
Because, well, I mean that there was because the military is a really good example of that. The military is a good example of, what would you do? What would it mean to be, to be a soldier as if you were not in the military? So, I mean, all of these people are doing things like the guy who is, there's a guy who's buying, but he's buying as if he has no goods. He's still doing whatever job he was doing, but he's doing it as if he has no job and he has no future to look forward to, or a different future. And those who deal with the world as if they had no dealings with it. What is my glasses are all scratched up. Anyway,
So what is that? So I guess the question then becomes, what does that look like practically? The only analogy, and I use this analogy all the time, is like being deployed, and I would watch people like especially when I was in Afghanistan, but even in Kuwait, but especially Afghanistan, who would spend just copious amounts of money buying these televisions and video game things and all of this crap to make their, at the most, 365 days more comfortable, knowing they were going home, and then they would leave and leave all of this stuff behind. Sometimes they sold it, but usually for a fraction of what they paid for it. And I was just like, I mean, I spent as little money as I could possibly manage while I was there. My one big purchase was all the Star Treks.
hmm.
So
There is, I think about it in terms of mommy and daddy, who I think really embodied that principle, but also many of their children have commented on how they were really not prepared for life because of how little they were thinking about their own future, much less their kids.
mhm.
Um, eh, and yet, they really were living according to that verse, I think. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, no, I would totally agree with that. Don't worry
Um,
about, and I have in some way lived that way. It's what's funny is there's there has been, like, God has arranged things in such a way outside of my own actions that has set things up for me to have a fairly, what looks like right now, a fairly stable retirement. I don't plan on retiring. I'll just eventually I'll leave the military. I have to do that. But in order to support more ministry. But we'll have, daddy will pass nothing on to us because they did not live that way. I will have something to pass on to our children, but not because I really meant to do so. It just happened.
I don't really have a lesson or anything that I'm trying to teach from this. It is a verse that is convicting um, for me personally, and one that I think that it's one of those verses that I don't think a lot of people who say that they really believe in the Bible actually believe.
Yeah, so it goes back to what I talked about with repentance. Like, what would it look like if every Christian lived as if this world were temporary and we were really investing in the kingdom to come?
Uh, I think there's been glimpses of that throughout history, but precious little of them. I think the Quakers did a pretty good job of it. Early American Quakers. I think they're one of the few consistently Christ-like groups of Christians throughout history. Anyway, that's it for me. Anything to add?
Nope.
Okay. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I give you my heart, my soul, and my strength. Make me a good man.
Amen.